The sensations caused by the aesthetic wavelength are more attractive to an ISB than any other sensation. When the electronic waves of pain and beauty are combined together, this causes the ISB to get stuck in the body. The reproductive trigger used for lesser life forms, such as cattle and other mammals, is triggered by chemicals emitted from the scent glands, combined with reproductive chemical electrical impulses stimulated by testosterone or estrogen. These are also interactive with nutrition levels, which cause the life form to reproduce more when deprived of food sources. Starvation promoted reproductive activity as a means of perpetuating survival through future regenerations when the current organism fails to survive. These fundamental principles have been applied throughout all species of life. The debilitating impact and addiction to the sexual aesthetic pain electronic wave is the reason that the ruling class of the domain do not inhabit flesh bodies. This is also why officers of the domain forces only use doll bodies. This wave has proven to be the most effective trapping device ever created in the history of the universe, as far as I know. The civilizations of the domain and the Old Empire both depend on this device to recruit and maintain a workforce of ISBs who inhabit flesh bodies on planets and installations. These ISBs are the working-class beings who do all of the slavish, manual, undesirable work on planets. As I mentioned, there is a very highly regimented and fixed hierarchy or class system for all ISBs throughout the Old Empire and the domain, as follows. The highest class are free ISBs. That is, they are not restricted to the use of any type of body and may come and go at will, provided that they do not destroy or interfere with the social, economic, or political structure. Below this class are many strata of limited ISBs, who may or may not use a body from time to time. Limitations are imposed on each ISB regarding range of power, ability, and mobility they can exercise. Below these are the doll body classes, to which I belong. Nearly all space officers and crew members of spacecraft are required to travel through intergalactic space. Therefore, they are each equipped with a body manufactured from lightweight, durable materials. Various body types have been designed to facilitate specialized functions. Some bodies have accessories, such as interchangeable tools or apparatus for activities such as maintenance, mining, chemical management, navigation, and so forth. There are many gradations of this body type which also serve as an insignia of rank. Below these are the soldier class. The soldiers are equipped with a myriad of weapons and specialized armaments designed to detect, combat, and overwhelm any imaginable foe. Some soldiers are issued mechanical bodies. Most soldiers are merely remote-controlled robots with no class designation. The lower classes are limited to flesh bodies. Of course, it is not possible for these to travel through space for obvious reasons. Fundamentally, flesh bodies are far too fragile to endure the stresses of gravity, temperature extremes, radiation exposure, atmospheric chemicals, and the vacuum of space. There are also the obvious logistical inconveniences of food, defecation, sleep, atmospheric elements, and air pressure required by flesh bodies that doll bodies do not require. Flesh can tolerate only a very limited spectrum of temperatures, whereas in space, the contrast of temperatures may vary hundreds of degrees within seconds. Of course, flesh bodies are utterly useless for military duty. A single shot from a handheld electronic blast gun instantly turns a flesh body into a noxious vapor cloud. ISBs who inhabit flesh bodies have lost much of their native ability and power. Although it is theoretically possible to regain or rehabilitate these abilities, no practical means has been discovered or authorized by the domain. Even though spacecraft of the domain travel trillions of light years in a single day, the time required to traverse the space between galaxies is significant, not to mention the length of time to complete just one set of mission orders, which may require thousands of years. biological flesh bodies live for only a very short time, only 60 to 150 years at most, whereas doll bodies can be reused and repaired almost indefinitely. The first development of biological bodies began in this universe about 74 trillion years ago. It rapidly became a fad for ISBs to create and inhabit various types of bodies for an assortment of nefarious reasons, especially for amusement, that is, to experience various physical sensations vicariously through the body. Since that time, there has been a continuing de-evolution in the relationship of ISBs to bodies. As ISBs continued to play around with these bodies, certain tricks were introduced to cause ISBs to get trapped inside a body so they were unable to leave again. This was done primarily by making bodies that appeared sturdy but were actually very fragile. An ISB, using their natural power to create energy, accidentally injured a body when contacting it. The ISB was remorseful about having injured this fragile body. The next time they encountered a body, they began to be careful with them. In so doing, the ISB would withdraw or minimize their own power so as not to injure the body. A very long and treacherous history of this kind of trickery, combined with similar misadventures, eventually resulted in a large number of ISBs becoming permanently trapped in bodies. Of course, this became a profitable enterprise for some ISBs who took advantage of this situation to make slaves of others. The resulting enslavement progressed through trillions of years and continues today. Ultimately, the dwindling ability of ISBs to maintain a personal state of operational freedom and ability to create energy resulted in the vast and carefully guarded hierarchy or class system. Using bodies as a symbol of each class is used throughout the Old Empire as well as the domain. The vast majority of ISBs throughout the galaxies of this universe inhabit some form of flesh body. The structure, appearance, operation, and habitat of these bodies vary according to the gravity, atmosphere, and climatic conditions of the planet they inhabit. Body types are predetermined largely by the type and size of the star around which the planet revolves, the distance from the star, the geological as well as the atmospheric components of the planet. For example, Earth is identified roughly as a Sun Type 12, Class 7 planet. That is, a heavy-gravity nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere planet with biological life forms in proximity to a single, yellow, medium-size, low-radiation sun or Type 12 star. The proper designations are difficult to translate accurately due to the extreme limitations of astronomical nomenclature in the English language. There are as many varieties of life forms as there are grains of sand on the beach. You can imagine how many different creatures and types of bodies have been manufactured by the millions of companies, such as Bugs and Blossoms, for all of the myriad planetary systems during the course of 74 trillion years.